Okay, I'm done.
Will Harris, a documentary filmmaker who has captured some of the most compelling stories in mixed martial arts. His YouTube docuseries Anatomy of a Fighter has given fans an intimate look into the journeys of some of the sport's biggest names. He has worked extensively and very closely with Khabib Nurmagomedov and his team, and has also appeared twice on the Joe Rogan Experience. I had the opportunity to spend some time filming alongside him and learned a great deal from the experience. Here's a quick interview about his journey and what continues to inspire his work. So let's get straight into it. All right, Will, first of all, thank you so much for doing this. And can you start by telling us what brings you to the UAE, the documentary that you're filming? Can you tell us a little about that?
Over the last 4 years, the UAE been home. I'm not visiting anywhere. This is home. Yeah, like for me, you know, with what I've been able to do with the sport of MMA and expand it globally, slowly, you know, with my Anatomy of a Fighter series, how long I've been doing it for 10 years now. My goal at the end of the day was to expand it and not just do it in America. And, you know, over a few years ago, I started, you know, venturing out of those American borders and start, you know, educating myself on different promotions around the world. So, you know, I knew about the UAE Warriors. And when I came over here in like 2019, you know, I was able to, you know, come to a show and, you know, learn about what Abu Dhabi was doing here with MMA, especially when Khabib was fighting when the UFC did a deal with Abu Dhabi to start having consistent shows. And, you know, with Fawad, you know, I've developed a relationship with him over the past, you know, handful of years. And, you know, she's welcomed me into the home of the UAE Warriors and Palm Sports. And I feel like, you know, for me, if I'm not telling stories about fighters that are not superstars, I'm not doing my job right. And I felt like it was important for me that has this massive popular brand that covers all of these popular fighters, is to always give back and tell the stories of fighters that are not that. Because I feel like, you know, I always say, like, I might have met Khabib when he was in the UFC, but what about if you was able to meet Khabib when he was obviously in a, you know, in a league like the UAE Warriors, catch him early, right? A Hamza, a Islam, people like that. So for me, I always take pride in, you know, humanizing fighters no matter what level they are in. And with the UAE Warriors, you know, it's, you know, since I'm based here in the UAE now, as a resident, is anytime I want to cover the Warriors, I just reach out to Fawad. We really don't have to talk about finances or things like that. And I just say, hey, I just want to come to this event. I pick and choose, and I'm able to like get all the access that I need.
Let's go back a little. When did you first realize that this is something that you're good at, or this is something that you want to do, like covering sports, athletes? When did you realize that?
It's not about when did I realize. Like, I've always just wanted to do documentaries, no matter what it was. I started doing MMA in 2016 when I was around some MMA fighters in Florida, and I realized they weren't getting promoted the right way. I didn't think the UFC was actually giving these top 15 ranked fighters any type of publicity. And I just thought, like, hey, maybe I'll do something on MMA fighters, because I was already doing stuff on boxers, like legendary boxers. And I didn't really think of anything about MMA until I was at a gym called the Heavyweight Factory in Hollywood, Florida. And Robbie Lawler, who was the current welterweight champion at the time, he said, hey, you ever think about doing MMA fighters? Because he was in there working on his boxing. And I didn't think nothing of it, but he told me about the two gyms, American Top Team and at the time the Black Zillions. And one day I just randomly saw the Black Zillion gym, and I walked in and asked who I need to speak to actually do some type of filming for MMA fighters. And, you know, I met the owner, you know, rest in peace, Glenn Robinson at that time, and he gave me his blessing to come into the gym and meet the fighters. And the moment I walked in, I never left. I kind of saw like an open canvas of stories within these fighters because no one was really covering the sport like that. So it wasn't about just the sport in general. It was about the opportunity to tell these raw, intimate stories of fighters. And that's what I've been able to do.
Okay, you mentioned Khabib, and you have worked extensively and very closely with him. What do you think makes that camp different?
They culture and their religion. It's just structured. And I feel like when you are a very devout Muslim that follows, Allah, it's going to sprinkle and filter into the rest of your life. So it's not about like, and then obviously the late great Abdul Manap instilled this discipline and structure within these guys when it comes to competing. It's just carried over. I think it's not about like the success level of what they do. It's the discipline that they have, because if you're disciplined within anything in life, you're going to see some type of success. That's anybody. And I feel like being around those guys, it makes you disciplined. And I feel like for me, I can film any fighter that I want in the world or develop a relationship. I've developed a brotherhood with them because of how they carry themselves. Because, when you meet certain people, like because of their attitudes or how they live their life, you might not want to be around them. Those are the type of people that their energy and discipline is infectious. And when you're around those people, you want to be great. So I feel like energy in the universe connects everything. And I feel like our relationship, they are very successful, I'm very successful. And by no reasons, no fault, we're all connected as one. And when they win, I win, vice versa. So yeah, that's a brotherhood. That's not a friendship, that's a brotherhood.
You mentioned that you worked in India, and I'm from India. So I have to ask you this. What's your opinion on the fight culture in India, and where do you think that it stands in the global map?
Well, I was able to meet the amazing pair of Ayesha Shroff and Krishna Shroff, Tiger Shroff's mother and sister. And they truly believe in the identity of growing MMA in India. And I was able to be invited by MFN and go out there and do a documentary with MFN. And I was blown away by the fight culture. I was blown away about the ability to tell stories. India, to me, that subcontinent is one of my last great voyages when it comes to storytelling, especially with combat sports. And there's a lot of untapped talent over there that I feel like if they continue to put money into the sport of MMA over there and educate the fans, I think India could eventually produce their own superstar. And I can't even imagine what's going to happen when an Indian MMA superstar arises. I want to cover that person because I'm pretty sure he's going to probably get 1 billion views. So I think the potential is there. Obviously, everything is slow. And I can't wait to see what happens with MFN along with, Brave Combat Federation coming over there, the UFC coming over there. Like, it's a lot of leagues that need to come to India and cover it.
Well, all your documentaries have a very intimate feel to it. And some of these fighters can be very protective about who they let in their camp. So how do you gain that trust with the fighters that you film?
By treating them like they're human and not fighters. I don't really look at these fighters as fighters. That's just what they do. It's just like I don't want nobody to look at me as someone that holds a camera. I try to humanize with fighters first before I ever record them. Talk to them, learn about them before I ever just stick a camera in their face. I think that's the lost art of filmmaking is storytelling. But more importantly, you have to develop a friendship with these athletes. That's any athlete. That's basketball players, football players, soccer players, fighters. Like, you have to develop a connection with them before they start being vulnerable. Every fighter is not going to be comfortable with you when you first meet them. I'm global now, so I'm meeting people from different cultures, religions. They don't even speak English, and I have to connect with them through translation and ChatGPT and things like that, asking questions. And even when you can't communicate verbally with language, you still can humanize through questions, and they respect you more. So I feel like instead of asking the typical fight week questions, or when you're getting to know fighters and, oh, how are you feeling? How excited are you for this fight? Learn something about these people, because when you're able to ask questions like that, they open up more and then they trust you. And then that's the advice that I always give people.
Right. Lastly, looking forward, is there a story or an athlete that you would want to cover in the future that you haven't already?
No, but it's just regions at this point. You know, I want to cover MMA in Japan. I want to do a lot more, you know, projects in India, find some amazing stories, because India is just so massive. You can be in mountains, the city, the beach. But yeah, man, I'm happy with what I've been able to do for 10 years. It's not really much more that I can do. A million views doesn't do anything for me. You know, positive comments don't do nothing for me. It's about just finding fresh stories. Because I feel like as long as you can find fresh stories, that means the sport is still growing. And that's my goal. It's like, by the time I'm done covering MMA, I just want to be able to say, like, I left no stone unturned. And I think I'm getting close. So I won't be doing this much longer, but I still got a couple years left.
That's brilliant. Again, thank you so much for doing this, Will. Big fan of your work and looking forward to your future work as well.
Thank you, brother.
Hi guys, it's me again, Moji Basar, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back with many more interviews, short form videos and more exciting combat sports content. Until then, keep punching.